Greetings, my tribe. Welcome to the huddle. I don't know how I'm looking today, but anyway, I'm on my way to the foot doctor this morning. I want to have surgery on my ankle. Let's see what she says. Anyway, I wanted to bring up a subject that just came to mind. In Alcoholics Anonymous, I work with different women, and I've noticed a pattern. We talk a lot about absent fathers, right? And about how they're affected. And my personal opinion is that a lot of girls end up hanging off of stripper poles. Not everyone, mind you, because I had an absent father and I never stripped. But I'm not judging anyone. I'm just saying that's not my experience, okay? But I was wondering, I've heard a couple of them have told me that their father was always there, criticizing them, putting them down, criticizing their weight, telling them how, they're no good, how they'll never amount to anything. And one of them was a stripper. She had stripped, she had stopped, she was in recovery, and she, was putting her life together. She was still young, but it's never too late, really. But it just makes me wonder, which one's worse? To have your father absent, where you have this illusion, like I did, illusion that if things would be so much better if my father was here. It's kind of like when you're an orphan, you have the illusion that if I only had parents, things would have been completely different, right? Well, I was raised by my mom. She wasn't single. She was married to my dad, but he got in trouble, and then he went to jail when I was very young, and then when he got out of jail, he started fucking up again. So, and then they got a divorce because he was messing around with my mom's best friend's daughter, who was 16. Now, this is, mind you, circa 1966. So anyway, they got a divorce, and then he just disappeared. I saw him a couple of times after that. He disappeared. They got divorced when I was 8 years old. So he was never around. Now, which one's worse, though? To have the illusion of if only daddy was here, things would be better, or having your father there, present, constantly criticizing you, constantly putting you down, criticizing your weight, telling you you're not pretty enough, possibly telling you you're not as pretty as your mom, whatever, or you're not smart, or you should be doing better. I mean, which one's worse? I don't know, because I've heard a lot of women say that. I also know someone in the program that she said that her father always made her feel like she wasn't good enough. When she came home with excellent grades, he would tell her he would say, well, that's okay. It's not that great. You can do better. You can do better, or you should have done better. And she always felt less than, and she still struggles with that to this day, and she's in her 50s. I also have another friend that, who was I thinking of? She also has her father's been present all her life, and it's the same thing. When are you going to get married? Why don't you have kids? You're getting old. Always on her. Now, he treats the brother like gold, but he's always on her. And the same thing with the other girl. They treat the boy really well, but they treat her really bad. So I'm just wondering, what is your experience with that? Now, with me, I always dreamed of seeing my dad again, and then I finally, when I was, my mom had taken us to Mexico to live for 9 years. When I came back, when I was going to come back, I managed to find out where my father was, and I sent him a letter saying that I needed him to pick us up from Tijuana, my sister and I from Tijuana. And I found out, fast forward, that was like 1979. And come to find out that he was married to another woman at that point, had a little boy, And he hadn't even told his wife about us. We didn't exist in his world. And so when she saw this letter, she asked him, she said, who's Debbie? Now, mind you, I just found this out. My sister and I just found this out 2 years ago when he passed away. Our stepmother finally told us, yeah, I didn't even know you guys existed. And we're like, what do you mean? And she's like, yeah, your dad never told me. And she told us the whole story of how it happened, how she found out he actually had a family. Now, she was 20 years younger than him. And I'm thinking to myself, didn't she ever ask him? Maybe he lied. I don't know. Maybe she told him, do you have any kids? Have you ever been married? And he said no. And she just bought it, right? But I say all that to say that once I met up with him again, he never really did anything for us at all. As adults, he never helped me when we bought our first house, my husband and I. He did plaster work and gardening and all that. I mean, that's what he worked at. That was his, career. And he never offered to help us. And when he did help us, we paid him. Because he put up paneling in one of the bedrooms. Yeah, we paid him. And he actually wanted us to pay him in advance. And my husband said, no, we're not going to pay you in advance. We want to make sure you get the work done. Do the work, and when you're done, we'll pay you. So, yeah, my dad was sketchy like that. But I don't know. I don't know which one's worse now. After seeing these other women, and I always thought that things would, I used to fantasize about, things would be better if Dad would have been there. If Dad had stayed, I could have done this. I could have had that career, blah, blah, blah. But now, when I hear these other women talk, I say, gee whiz, I wonder if it would have been better, because it doesn't sound, these are present fathers. People always go on and on about, these absent fathers, if they would just stay with their families. Is it really better? I don't know. Now, if you are a present father, and if you are doing those things like criticizing your daughter and about her weight, and she should, be married by now, and when are you going to have kids, and why don't you wear more makeup? Why don't you wear less makeup? Stop. Knock it off. Okay, because you're really damaging them. And if you are an absent father, get in touch with your kid and do right by them. Because, I do believe that a lot of these girls that end up swinging off a pole is because they couldn't find any other option. Obviously, who really wants to go swing off a pole? I don't. I can't even imagine taking your class. It must be really hard the first times, but they must have to be drunk or high to do that the first time. They must be extremely nervous is what I'm trying to say. And that's a horrible thing to have to go through. So yeah, it just makes me wonder, which one's worse? Because these women, of course, they're alcoholics and they're in recovery. But just how important is it to have the father present if the father sucks? It makes you wonder. So if you could share your opinion with me, I'd love to know. I'd love to kind of take a survey and see how many women have had bad experiences and how many women have had good experiences. My experience wasn't, it was bad. My experience was bad. I have to say that. And yeah, I'm kind of glad he wasn't there, because the kind of person he was, don't get me wrong, I love my father, but that's because I didn't really know him, to tell you the truth. He was one of those people that was so private that if you asked him about his childhood, he wouldn't tell you anything. My sister and I were just talking about that yesterday. He was like, he sincerely felt like it was none of your damn business. Why are you asking me that? You would ask him, just to know the family history. He wouldn't want to share. So a lot of things about him, like, I didn't know he liked Barbra Streisand. He liked her music. I didn't know that until he was like 80 something. He died at 92, but he was like 80 something when I found out. I used to go visit him and things like that. And I used to call him once in a while. We had some nice conversations. I made him laugh and stuff, but it was a very distant relationship. You know, it was very cordial, distant. Um, I mean, it still wasn't like I had a real father. So, yeah, I want to know. I want to know what you think, but I'm just wondering, is it better to have the father there or not? I don't know. So, just something to think about, guys. We need to stop being so obsessed about the absent fathers and be more aware of what are the present fathers actually doing, because fathers just being there, if you're going to be there to torture, discourage, or just a lump on the couch, you know, even my ex-husband was critical of our daughters. And I had to argue with them all the time. Knock it off, you know. If you're just going to be there being a pain in the ass, I prefer that you're not there. I think personally for me, I wish I had raised my girls by myself in retrospect. So I think it would have been much easier on all my two girls and I to just raise them myself in a peaceful home instead of yelling and screaming all the time because he was always throwing tantrums. But that's another story. I have videos about that. I think I already talked about that. Anyway, love you guys. Just wanted to share that with you. I'd love to know your opinion, your experiences with this. Do you know anyone that's had a bad experience with their father, where the father was present but neglectful or critical? I'd really love to hear it. Take care. Thanks for watching, and appreciate what you already have.
Where's this from?
Spanish, Español, father, padre. Mother, madre. Unloved, no amado. Narcissist, narcisista. Abuse, abuso.